back on. Now we're recording. Somebody's from frozen Edmonton. Yay, Kansas City. Oh my God, it goes so fast. Davis, California, Austin, Texas, Corning, wonderful. Puerto Rico, hello. Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia, Hot Springs, Berkeley, Lima, hello, Lima, hello, Melbourne. Oh my gosh, so fast. Wonderful. I love seeing that. Thank you so much. And how this will work, if you haven't been here before, is I'll talk for a minute or two. Excuse me, somebody's from Greenpoint. I already scrolled by too fast. And introduce the school and welcome Dave. And then Dave will walk us through something for nearly an hour, and then we'll do some sharing. And when it comes to the sharing part, I'm going to ask you to hold up the Zoom hand, which is down there somewhere. We like to keep muted while the workshop's going on, but towards the end, when we're all feeling kind of celebratory, we'll let everyone unmute and have a last round of cheers and applause and stuff like that. But the sharing section we'll do as first come, first serve. When the hand goes up, we'll fit in as many as Dave is comfortable fitting. So I am going to share my screen real fast. I'll tell you a little bit about the school, and then we'll move on. So welcome. You're at the Sequential Artists Workshop Zoom space. This workshop, we took these over from The Believer a few months back now, and we're really honored that they let us sort of pick up the mantle. The Sequential Artists Workshop is a school that's been open for about 10 years now, teaching comics to all sorts of people. We've been online since kind of about 2017, but like a lot of places went really online in 2020. I'll show you a couple more things. We're a nonprofit. We're 501c3 nonprofit, which means if you want to donate, it's tax deductible as per your tax advisor. You can find our online courses at learn.sawcomics.org right there. Lots of online courses there, some which are always available, some which are up and coming. Here's some up and coming ones. Hey, it's December 10th. It's the Believer Workshop that's here. And this is, we have Leela Corman, who's going to be doing one of her first workshops with SAW, even though she sort of was around from the founding of it, but she hasn't done much online with us. That's January 9th. And I'm going to be doing something called Storytelling Vinyasa. It's also called Storytelling Flow. That starts on the 17th. And I do that once a year. And it's one of my favorite courses to teach. It just sort of helps people get unstuck and sort of work on slightly longer things. It's really, really fun. Some information about being one of our donors here and how it supports us. We've given out lots and lots and lots of intuitions this year, and your donations help us with that. And there's 3 ways to offer some support: PayPal, Venmo, Patreon. Typically, because we're such an oddball place, we have 3 different URLs for each place, each site. Share on social media anywhere, hashtag Friday Night Comics. We are at Comics Workshop on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can come, or you can come join us at members.sawcomics.org. And we are always sharing lots and lots of stuff there, and there's lots of camaraderie, and we'd love to see you. It looks like this. I'll scroll through that real fast. That's some of what you might see if you go there. So yep, survive from tuitions and donations. I mentioned that. I'll post these in the chat window too later. And please, no inappropriate speech or imagery. We got really burned the first time we tried this with a Zoom bombing, but we haven't had any problems since. So I think we're okay. Thanks so much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to pass it on to Dave, and I'm going to let Dave do his own introduction. I'm going to spotlight his screen and hide myself, but I'll be in the chat able to help anyone who needs it. So spotlight for everyone. Take it away, Dave. Thanks so much for being here. He's my old friend, and I miss you so much, Dave. Thank you. All right, I'll shut up.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to see you, Tom. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you, Sequential Artists Workshop. And hello, everyone. Thanks to my friends who are here. I apologize if you got lots of emails from me all week about this. I'm glad you came nonetheless. And welcome, everyone. it's exciting to be doing a Friday workshop. And so my name is David Lasky. I've been making comics for about 30 years. And when I started out, I was a short fiction person. I didn't really like poetry. I hadn't liked it all through school. I just didn't understand it. And through comics, I got more into poetry. And before I'm going to have a slideshow, but I'm also going to plug a class I have coming up. If you enjoy this workshop, I have a whole haiku comics class through Push Pull, a Seattle art space. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Sorry, it's a long link. I should have shortened it. So that's a little plug. And I can also give you the link at the end of class. I'm going to share my screen and give you a short slide talk. Let's see if this works. So you should be seeing True Swamp by John Lewis, because let's see if I'm trying to make it into a slideshow. Okay, maybe that looks better. In the mid 1990s, I was hanging out with Tom Hart, your host tonight, and John Lewis, our friend, in John's apartment, I think. And we were talking about comics, which we did all the time back then. And John noted that newspaper comic strips are a lot like haiku poetry, where haiku is 3 lines and newspaper comic strips are often 3 panels, or they're at least a very short delivery system of comics. And that like blew my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to poetry a little more because of that. And oddly enough, that night we were looking at Jack Kirby comic books from the 70s. And this is a 2-page spread. This is kind of the opposite of haiku comics. This is epic, big, crazy comics. Haiku is more about the little moments. So let's shift away from Jack Kirby. This is a form of comics that does not follow Jack Kirby. He never really did haiku comics. Interestingly, John's main character is a frog, and the most famous haiku poem is Basho's "The Old Pond, a frog jumps in, the sound of water." That's just one translation, because it's from Japanese. There's many translations of that poem and many ways to think about it. Maybe that's why John was tuned into haiku, because of the frog connection. I don't know. And then I came across, years later, this drawing by Seth, the Canadian cartoonist, after Charles Schulz. And he first copied a Charles Schulz peanut strip where Charlie Brown basically says, if you think the world is such a great place, why do you keep hanging onto that blanket? There's a silent beat in panel 3, and then Linus says, touche. And then Seth did the same art, but he put a haiku poem into the speech bubbles by a poet named Jo Kun. Charlie Brown says, I intended never to grow old. Silent beat. Linus says, but the temple bell sounds, which means time just keeps passing, whether you want it to or not. You're going to get old, Charlie Brown. And it works. And it's interesting that that silent beat that's often used in newspaper comic strips is really a part of haiku, where there's often, after the phrase never to grow old, there's that M dash. Haiku often will have that dash or a semicolon, some kind of pause between the first thought and then the second thought in the haiku. Not every haiku is structured that way, but a lot of them are. So this really got me focused on haiku and comics. And before we get into the comics, we need to all write a haiku. The way I do these is I write first, and draw pictures later. There's probably lots of other approaches, but that's always worked for me. So I'm going to prepare you to write your own poem. For anyone who doesn't know, we'll just review what is a haiku. It's a Japanese form of poetry, 3 lines. Usually the lines go first line 5 syllables, second line 7, and last line 5 syllables again. Or basically a good rule of thumb is try to keep it within 17 syllables total. But because haiku is spread all over the world and other languages have different syllable counts than the Japanese language, a lot of American poets say, well, I'm not going to follow 575, and it's kind of up to you. But I think it is fun to follow that constraint and try to fit your poem into those syllables. It's pretty much always written in the present tense. In Japan, they use season words. It's a poetry form that's heavily linked to seasons and specific words that evoke a season. But in modern haiku in Japan, some poets have broken away from that. And in America, a lot of poets have broken away from season words. When I was first introduced to this form in high school, I was told it's usually about nature. And that just made it weird and hard for me to wrap my head around how to write something about nature in 3 lines. And I think as an adult, I saw more modern haiku that was about your thoughts or human life. And humans are a part of nature. So I think it's okay for us to write about ourselves or the human world, really whatever we want. And if you look at the library, there's haiku on all kinds of subjects, crazy subjects like pirates haiku, baseball haiku, relationship breakup haikus. That's a popular one, I think. So really, if you want, you can do seasons or nature, but really do whatever you feel like doing with your poem. We're going to look at a couple examples by one of the greats, Yosa Busan. And I want us to go with the theme of temperature. So I picked some he wrote with the word cold, but you can choose other temperatures. But let's look at what he wrote. First, the night is so cold, even in bed, it keeps me wide awake. And another one, my neighbor on the other side of the wall keeps clattering this and that in the cold night. So in the first one, the coldness is the main subject. He's kind of pitted against this coldness in the night. In the second poem, it's more about his neighbor, and he just lets you know it's a cold night, and that might be why the neighbor is clattering. Who knows? He was from the 1700s in Japan, so when it was cold, it got pretty cold. They didn't have efficient heaters, so it was a worthy subject. All right, here's your writing assignment. So you're going to write a haiku, a 3-line poem. Try to pick something on the theme of temperature. Think about things you've recently experienced. We're in the tail end of fall, winter's on the way. Maybe you've been cold. Maybe where you are, it's warm. Maybe you're in the southern hemisphere or further south than a lot of us. Maybe it's cold, but when you enter a house or building, it's warm and it fogs up your glasses or has some effect on you. Maybe you want to write about hot cocoa or a hot fire or a cool breeze. And I have suggested some words you might use: hot, warm, cold, cool, freezing, scorching, etc. That might help. So I'm going to say you have 5 minutes, and I'll stop sharing my screen at this point. Maybe I should keep sharing in case you want to see the assignment and what is a haiku. I have 17 after the hour, so at about 22 after, we'll check back in. So you've got 5 minutes to write your haiku. I'm looking at the chat. There's some really good haiku commentary. Thanks, everyone. Don't worry if your haiku comes out bad, because you're going to make it into a comic, which will add a little something. That's my secret. I write so-so poetry, but then I make it a little better with comics. Sometimes it helps you just write out sentences, write out a thought or experience, and then look at the sentences and think, how can I trim this down into haiku format? We have about 1 minute to go. You might want to look and see if you want to adjust any words, change your word choice, or sometimes I even switch line 3 and line 1, and that makes it a better poem. It's fun to read all these poems. Go for about 20 more seconds, and then I'm going to show some more slides, and then we'll get to the comics portion of the evening. Okay, see if you can put a finishing touch on what you're working on. And I'm going to see what the next slide is here. So we're in the comics portion of tonight's workshop. And knowing about comic strips and haiku, I started looking more at comic strips as sometimes poetry. Sometimes they're just delivering a gag or a continuing story, but unlike Crazy Cat here, that's over 100 years old, it's one of the most poetic comics ever made. And here the main character, Crazy Cat, is looking at the moon over the ocean, and it suddenly drops into the ocean. And Crazy says, "I just knew that moon would fall down someday." And what does it mean? It's not your typical comic strip gag. It feels funny, but also somehow sad and poetic. Like the moon has let Crazy Cat down, but it's just dropping into the horizon as it usually does. But in Crazy Cat, it kind of makes a splash in the ocean. And then Patrick McDonnell, many years later, very influenced by George Harriman's Crazy Cat, and there's a nice, so nice comic with the moon. And dogs have been howling at the moon for 12,000 years. Gee, does it say enough already? And if you measure the syllables, dogs have been howling at the moon for 12,000, wait. Dogs have been howling at the moon for 12,000 years. 8 syllables, enough already. 5 syllables. So it's slightly over 575, but it feels like a haiku comic to me. I'm not sure if he intended it to be a haiku comic, but I consider it to be one. And I love the format where the moon is just in the center there. It feels kind of poetic, but also it functions as a gag cartoon. Oops. Here we go. And then there are artists who are really intentionally poetic in their comics. John Porcellino is one I've followed for years. This is not it doesn't have the 575 count, but it's 3 panels. It's really lovely. I see the ones that everybody knows, Orion and the Big Dipper, but they're there. My night sky is your night sky. And it's a little long for a haiku, but it really feels like a haiku comic. And I took this from a web page by Matt Madden, who also makes really intentional haiku comics like this one. While I was drawing, wind blew away my ink cap, found it in the grass. Matt Madden, by the way, is a fantastic pioneer of experimenting with forms of comics, and he has a new book out I'm excited to read. So then I tried my own haiku comics, this one from about 7 years ago. Streetlight walks, electric fan in the hall, shadows and breeze. And wasn't trying to tell any specific narrative. It was more trying to evoke the feeling of end of summer at night in my neighborhood. And do scenes that are kind of vague, but kind of communicate something of a place and a mood. And that, I think, is all you have to do in a poetry comic if you want. They could even be abstract, as the first panel is almost abstract in this one. And looking again at Busan, who we looked at his cold poems, he was actually a professional painter, artist, and this is his self-portrait. And look at how simple he's drawn himself with just a curving line, a dot for his eye, a couple marks for his ear, and maybe there's a little side lock. I'm not sure. It's very similar to the cartoon character Henry, or Charlie Brown, or the Yellow Kid, or the other bald young men of comics. And this is from the 1700s. He did something called Haiku, which is haiku written with a drawing on the same piece of paper. To me, that's comics, that's poetry comics. And it existed hundreds of years ago. Basho did Haiku in the 1600s. So what I thought was this new, exciting form of comics. It's actually one of the older forms, maybe, of comics, if you count this as comics. I think the art museums who have this work don't want to call it comics, but to me, it is comics. The drawing on the right of the scholar looking satisfied with himself, that could be a New Yorker cartoon, you know. So that's Haiku. I'll leave it to you to look up more about Haiku if you're interested. Now we come to our comics assignment. I want you to adapt your poem as a comic strip. It could be 3 panels, could be 4 panels. Maybe you'll have a silent beat, or maybe you'll break up one line over more than one panel. It could also be a haiku, a single image with your poem written around it. Think about how you might use visual symbols to express a temperature. And I'm going to share my paper in a moment and show you some different symbols you might use. And use words and pictures together. See if you can provide maybe some new information in the images you draw. So you're not just illustrating each line of the poem, but maybe saying something more or different. Even if it's if you're writing about a frog, show what the frog looks like, or show an expression on the frog's face. And above all, keep the images clear and simple, as you did when you wrote your words. I think that's a good rule for comics in general. Communicate clearly and simply in your drawings. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to switch to my page. I won't take too long because I want to give you time to draw. So if you're drawing something that's hot, like a cup of hot cocoa, you might use steam lines or smoke. There's like a campfire, I don't know. If somebody's feeling hot, they might have blush marks on their face. If somebody is shivering, they might have their teeth gritted and little shiver marks. You might see something like icicles. Sometimes icicles are attached to a speech bubble. Also, sweat drops or sweat flying off a face. But kind of the sweat drop is a universal, hot or nervous. A drop on the forehead. And these are the main symbols I have to suggest. As far as panel format, you could do a standard 1, 2, 3, or you might do something more fancy like John Porcelino had 3 staggered panels and then a connecting 4th panel behind. You might do a 4-panel grid like Seth and Charles Schultz, 1, 2, 3, and they kind of rest or silent beat in that panel. Recommend drawing in pencil, but you could draw in pen if you want. I'm going to try to draw in pencil, pen, and if I have time, watercolor it. I'm going to stop right there because we're getting short on time and let you draw silently. If you haven't already begun, feel free to begin your comic. I'm going to begin mine. Let's see if we can go about 15 minutes. Sorry, I had so many slides today. When you do your lettering, you can think about placement. Do you want it on top, on bottom, maybe in the middle of the panel? This is poetry comics, so you can have a little fun with where you're going to place the lettering, and even the style of the lettering can affect how the poem is read. I chose to take on the classic, you're sleeping and you're hot, so you throw off the blanket, and then later in the night you wake up and you're cold. And you wonder, oh, where did I put that blanket? I'm using Pit Artist pens, which I like, and the ink is waterproof. So I drew it on watercolor paper. And see if I can quickly put down some color in the time we have. And in a few minutes, we'll do some sharing. And I'm willing to stay later than the end of the hour if you are, to do sharing. I love doing watercolor in comics because you can pretty quickly fill an area. I always keep a paper towel handy so I can dab anything that gets too dark. It takes some getting the hang of. If you've never used watercolors, it can take, some months or some years of getting the hang of it, but it's kind of a fun way to do comics. As this is at night, I'm going to use kind of a almost monochromatic cool color palette of blues and purples, and also it's cool colors that helps communicate the coldness that I'm feeling in the last panel. I forgot I was going to draw. Make sure the paint's dry before I draw. I was going to draw a few blush marks here to show I'm hot. I could also add a little orange to panel 1. Might be nice. Show I'm hot. I kept my drawing very minimal, partly because we're limited on time, but also because this is a haiku comic. So let's try to keep one approach is to try to keep the art as minimal and pared down as the writing. Although you can certainly do, ornate, detailed haiku comics as well. This is poetry, so there's no hard, fast rules. It's however you would like to approach the subject. I think I'm going to stop right there at my initials. It's much faster than I would normally draw a comic, but haiku is much faster than I would normally write a poem generally. So I think it kind of fits. I might dab a little around the motion lines, add some plain water. Make sure they remain visible. I don't know, maybe that wasn't a good idea. I'm going to stop noodling and just leave it. Oh, hi, Cheryl C. Thanks for coming tonight.
If people would like to start raising their Zoom hand, which I think is found in the reactions for most people on the bottom, you can raise your little hand, and when Dave's ready, we can start to share, but that'll get us queued up.
Yeah, I'm using Pitt Artist pens. They come in different sizes. They're very similar to microns, if you know microns. And they're fast and waterproof and archival. So I prefer to use old-fashioned dip pens, but they're kind of slow, kind of messy. For tonight, the Pitt Artist pens were perfect for a fast comic strip. So I'm ready. Tom,
Okay.
if you want to start sharing.
Yeah, sure. We'll start with, it'll be Allison, Libby, Liliana, and Michelle, and I'll write that down in the chat too. So I'm going to suddenly spotlight people and then bang.
Hi there. So I am reading this backwards. So north wind blows the fog, perfect for hanging the sheets. My hands cradle my mug.
It's beautiful, Allison.
Oh, thank you.
I love that there's 2 silent beats.
Yeah, there's a lot of this happening in this house at the moment.
I wish you warmth tonight. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful color, by the way.
Season's first snowfall, snowshoe hair invisible, tracks reveal her path.
That's great, Libby. And I didn't see the hair at first, but it is there. You did a good job of making it minimal and camouflaged. I also love how the landscape kind of connects. I don't know if that was intentional.
Semi.
I like that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Libby.
Okay, we'll go to Liliana. Let's see.
Okay. I recounted again and found a syllable mistake, so don't mind the scratch
it's
out.
poetry. It's okay.
Can you take me far between sun and sand alone? There we melt again.
That's beautiful. Great drawing. And having a word crossed out in a poetry comic and a word replacing it kind of becomes part of the poem. Maybe. So I think that's a happy accident.
I kind of liked how it looked anyway.
Yeah. Thank you, Liliana.
Thanks.
Great job.
Hi, mine looks like this, but I cheat by doing this. So the ginkgo burns bright. Its sun-soaked leaves fall below. The golden blanket warms me. I'm sad that I couldn't draw it as pretty as it looks. There's one down the street. My friend, I was texting a friend at the same time. He says that I'm pretty far off, but it says ginkgo embers bright. Oh no, ginkgo's embers sunlight. There's no verb.
I love the panel layout and the placement of the words. It's so sophisticated. The falling leaf. So great. Great use of the comics medium.
Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
Dave, I can't spotlight you until your screen is on. That's just how Zoom works. So, but I'll remove Michelle, and then that makes Dave Hingley. We'll wait for Dave. Hingley. We'll come back. We'll come to ND now. Hi, ND. Spotlight. There we go.
Okay. So I've been building a writer's shed, and we've been doing a lot of insulation, and there's we use rock wool and glass fiber. So it's been on my mind. This is the art. It says liquid glass as strands tangles the space dividing out. So
wow. Nice work. Strong mood.
Well, we'll go to Angela next. Let's see, replace. There we go.
Hi, only I'm done. The others are not done on my side, but here it is. This one starts with water feels so cold. And then tingly draft down in my toes. And then holy shoed winter.
Oh, I've got that feeling. You don't realize there's a hole in your shoe until you encounter some water.
Yeah.
Well done. Great use of color too.
We'll go to, nice. Okay, we'll go to Julie next. There we go. Oops, you're muted, Julie. You might need to unmute.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a storm actually brewing right now outside. Can you see? And this one says, it is colder now. Rain and wind bore through my soul. Light a candle, please.
Oh, I like the appearance of the candle at the end of that and the warm color.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
And I hope it's not too bad of a storm out there.
Well, it's just brewing.
Okay, there's Monica. There we go.
Okay. Hello to David from the summer class. Hoping you guys can see this. Is it backwards? Is it?
It's forwards.
Yes, we can see
Okay.
it.
Okay. So fluctuating temps, Mother Nature's hot flashes. Oh, do I relate?
Nicely done. I love the drips from the melting snow and then the drips, the sweat beads flying off of you. Nicely done.
Thank you. I'd
Thanks
love
for
to put
joining
color
us.
on it. Yeah.
That would look great with color, yes.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Monica.
Likewise.
Okay, we'll go to Jane next. Let's see.
Okay. You see that? So
Yes.
I have falling into cold, winter or not, I can't do, gesturing for warmth.
Great poses and expressions. I feel your emotions through the physical and exaggerated physical gestures. Nicely done and great color there too.
I like punning around.
Thank you, Jane.
Okay, we've gone to Rachel and Calvin.
So first I had these two kids. Okay, so first I love the night. Happy warm nights, don't you? And then I have him outside, like in the tent, or he's camping in the snow, and he said, I wouldn't know.
Can we see that first panel?
Here.
Wow, that's kind of wistful, because there are so many people living out in tents this winter. Really thoughtful of you and great cartooning. You're a very talented cartoonist. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, we'll go to Nina next. There we go. And after that.
Okay, guys, I have 2 broken bones in my arm, and this is what happened. On the beach, I fall. The log trips me, not caring. The waves keep coming.
Oh, Nina.
So this is what happened.
Wow, and you've drawn beautifully with just the use of one arm.
I've only got one arm.
You get a gold star and a medal.
Thank you. I want surgery. That's what I need now is surgery. Thanks, David.
Wish you the best, Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, we'll go to Zosie. Let's see, replace.
Oh my gosh, mine is really, really long. It took me like a minute to read the whole thing. So I haven't even finished coloring yet, but it's okay. Let me just take off the background. That's the first panel. Is it backwards on the screen?
Nope,
No.
it looks right.
It says, the fire is hot. It keeps me warm in the cool evening air. I am content. I am protected. And that's it. Thank you.
In the middle, it says, I feel safe.
Oh, it does? Oh yeah, I feel safe at the bottom.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
I love the moon, the stars, and the heart.
Thank you.
Great symbols. Thank you, Zosie.
Travis, thank you. There we go.
Right, so I don't know if you can really see that well, but one day you freeze. So like I'm just shivering in coldness, and then I get my Ushanka out. I'm like sometimes near Ushanka, and then sorry, I'm just really weird. Cold, warm, and this is just like me kind of like grr, you know. And then like then I just noticed I'm like, okay, I kind of need that back, so you kind of need to pick that back up, make up your mind. So yeah.
Can you tell me what is Ushanka?
Ushanka is this so
awesome.
yeah.
I was thinking maybe that's what it was. Thank you, Travis.
No
Nicely drawn.
Go to Jackie next.
My apologies, I was not able to get into my drawing space, so I was kind of limited in what I could use, but made my pen and pencil work for me.
Excellent.
And it says, my feet are frosty. Even under the quilt, I coaxed cats onto the bed.
Excellent. I love any comic with a cat is awesome. Great job with the feet and the quilt too. Thank you. Great to see you, Jackie.
Yeah, you too, David.
Thanks, everybody. On to Nefertiti. Oops, I hit. Nefertiti, we need you to, I can't spot, there we can. Let's see. Hang on a second. There we go.
Okay, let's see. Oh, see that?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can you? Oh, okay. That's. I think that's as close as I can get it. So it says, "My truth arrived today, for the second time this week. Again, I know me."
We see a close-up of the last panel. That's really beautiful. Yay.
There we go. Sorry.
Lovely drawing. Do you think you'll add color?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
That would look great. Thank you, Nefertiti.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. I don't know if Dave Hingley is here. If Dave Hingley is here, we can spotlight you too. But Dave Lasky, I'm going to spotlight myself for a second because I did one, but it was in between emailing and doing admin stuff, so I didn't really do it. But the thing is I wrote cold wind in my clothes, but coldest in my back against my bones. But I didn't know how I would draw it. And then I was like, wait, Dave Lasky gave us the perfect symbol, and it was a pear. Dave, for those that don't know, Dave just does these wonderful pear comics. And so I just made it a pear. Cold wind in my clothes, but coldest in my back, and then you get in to see the seeds, and then against my bones, and I got closer in on the seeds. I might revise this, but I think it was an okay metaphor. Stolen from the best.
Well, I didn't invent pears, so they're available to anyone to use. Thank you, Tom. That's exciting.
And we can go to Dave now, and then Caitlin. There we go. Let's see, is Dave muted? Dave is muted. Do you have a second to unmute, Dave Hingley? There we go. Wait, no. Well, we'll just look.
I'll read Dave's. Silence in the house. Now the boiler fires up. Gurgle, whoosh, whoomph. The shock makes me jump. I love the panels of Dave sleeping and waking up. They're so great. And the sound effects are so well drawn with the lettering style. Dave, if you want to unmute and say anything, feel free, but I think you did a great job.
Okay, great. And Kelly Quinn mentions it's poignant that you're muted and your words are so onomatopoetic. Excuse me. Okay, we'll go to Caitlin. There we go.
All right. So my son and I drew this together. Our poem is, hold on. Okay. The poem is Paper Airplanes Fly, Soggy Planes in a Puddle, Soggy Planes Destroyed. So there goes our plane and crash into the puddle.
Oh, I love that you used that kind of background uniting panel and filled it with raindrops. Really creates a sense of the environment.
You want to show yours? Okay, can I show him real quick?
No.
Okay, he's shy.
I
He's
said
over.
I'm not done.
He's not done.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that paper airplane poem. Great job.
All right, we'll move on to Angela, and after Angela, Amanda, then Nikki, then Lynn, then Thomas, then Raul. More people are queuing up. Here we go.
Hi, this is Jim.
Hi, I've been sitting off to the side, doing something different, to be honest, but it sounded interesting what you folks were doing while my family was watching. So I did one in the background. Is that visible?
Yes.
My tea's heat has left. Even the cup is cold now, or cool now. The taste of wet sticks.
That's awesome. My favorite part is dragging the tea bag string.
You noticed that?
Yeah. Great cartooning, sir.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad we could rope you in.
Yeah, I think you have.
On to Amanda. There we go.
Okay. This is what I did. So it says a bird in the tree wonders how the sun rises. Does it have wings too?
Wow, I love the sun's radiating lines also being wings. Very clever, very well drawn, very poetic, in fact.
Thank you.
Great job, Amanda. Thank you.
We'll move on to Nikki.
Thank you. And thank you. I love haiku, my favorite kind of poetry, so appreciate it. So this is from my wildflower walk this morning. Orange butterflies drifting through the wildflowers by the old oak tree.
Wow, beautifully painted.
Those are the flowers.
Wow, I love that.
Thank you.
I love the white lettering on the color. That's a work of art.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's a bit
Nikki.
wet, so it's running.
Are you in New Zealand now?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for joining us all the way down under there.
Right,
Great
we'll
job. That's inspiring.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Lynn. Hi, Lynn. So nice to see you.
Lynn Lucas.
Yeah. Oh, you're muted.
It's good to see you too, Tom.
There we go. Wow. Hi.
Looking great.
We can hear you.
Okay, I have this weird thing of my comic's a bit ragged, but if I can read. The weight of winter. Blue-gray skies embracing me. The wind, a chapped kiss.
Wow, I love that last panel. Is it like loops of the wind?
I just wanted something very abstract. I mean, you know me, maybe that being spontaneous when drawing a comic is not my strong suit. I would have to work on this 3 more times before it would be something.
I think you did a great job.
fun exercise.
I felt
Love
like
the
that
mood.
cat. I felt like that cat in that third panel gave way to that image in the fourth panel. The shapes were kind of similar. Anyway,
And
it's nice
Lynn's
to-
coming to us from the southwest, so we get a cactus in there. Great job. It's great to see you, Lynn.
Yeah, me
Thank
too.
you for joining us.
All right, on to Thomas and then Raul. There we go.
Okay, first panel, and it looks like it's flipped on my screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay,
Right
need more
side.
challenge. This is the first panel. Life has been cold. Need more challenges now, or I'll freeze to death. That's just an empty seat in front of a computer.
Wow.
But yeah, things have been kind of dull. I'm like, yeah, I got to get busy. So it's one of the reasons I'm in this class. So let's start getting back into it.
Great use of cold as a metaphor. And I love the thick and thin lines, the shading. You did great work in the short time we had.
Thanks. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
gotta get back into something.
Excellent. Yeah, it keeps the brain hopping, I guess. I always need to be creative in some way.
All right, we'll go to
Thank you,
Raul.
Thomas.
There we go.
Hey, Raul,
David.
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. It's your fault I'm here, not really. I love your work, but this is my attempt. I'm not an artist. I want to learn more from you, but anyway, this is what I got. Can you see it well?
Yes.
Okay, it says, dark, cold nights bring warmth. My freezing toes crack the ice, snoozing by the fire.
Love it.
It's an honest attempt to haiku comics.
I love what you chose to put in each panel, like the close-up of the feet on the floor. It looks like a bathroom floor tiles, maybe.
I wanted to put the shape of frozen frost on the ground, but it's turned out to be that way. It could be frosty too.
Mhm. Can you tell us what is the image in panel 1?
Oh, panel 1 is a person looking away into the horizon, the dark night, just a few very dim stars way in the sky, and he's standing outside. So it's a person in the middle, very small person.
Nice. I think for you're mainly a poet, I know, and for someone who's experimenting with comics, I think you really thought out what would go in the panel very well.
Oh, thank you. That's encouraging.
Yeah, great work.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Raul. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Dave, I've spotlighted you again, Dave. So
Are we at the end?
I think so. I think we've had all the hands have been lowered, have been tended to.
Thank you, everyone, for staying late for this. I had too many slides.
I'm really
sharing
honored,
it.
Dave.
I've
Thank you.
shared the link to my haiku class again, if anyone's interested in doing more of this. And I'm going to try to save the chat so I can read everything later.
Got 2 more hands that just went up. Should we try and tend to them? And that'll give you a chance to post your class one more time. And
okay.
Can somebody hear me?
Who's that, Jamie or?
Huh?
Is it Jamie or Caitlin? I'm not sure who's talking.
I'm new to this thing.
I'm not sure who's speaking. To be
I've
honest.
been on it for a while. I was like doing a haiku week, guys.
Is your hand raised? Do you want to share some work that you've done?
Sure.
Okay, well, you have to raise the Zoom hand. Meanwhile, I don't.
What's the Zoom hand?
Meanwhile, while you find that, it's in the reaction section. We'll see if Jamie will
Yeah.
share their screen.
Okay, hi, I'm here now. I just figured out on mute. I'm sorry. I never did this before and I'm nervous. And also my cartoon is weird and I don't know how to share it. I don't know what I'm doing. I have like a frozen picture of me there, but like, how do I show you what I drew? Is there an unlock for the camera too? Hold on.
Usually it's start video, stop video. Is that anywhere in your vicinity?
I'm not like a moron. I know I sound like I'm, but I mean, after all the pandemic, we should all know how to do this, but this phone is just a piece of garbage and it freezes up all the time. So it's like, whatever I touch, it'll be like, leave meeting. It does whatever you don't want it to do. So hold on. Let me try to, like, now I'm in the chat. I don't want to be in the chat. So hold on. Now it's my frozen face. This is not what we want. How do I, oh wait, hold on. Start video. Okay, great. Here. Start. Okay. No, I don't know. Don't look at me. Here. I want to just show my thing. So
Okay.
wait, how do I do
There
it?
you
Can I
go.
flip it around? Oh my God.
You can see it. Well, it's sideways.
So now it's sideways. All right, hold on. It's got to be better than this. Wait, I don't want it to, can I flip it around the other way? I don't want you to see my cluttered house and my red face. And look, my bicycle attacked me. I tried to get out of the way of a speeding car and it ripped my face open.
no.
Life is not going well. But here, can you see it?
Yeah, that's some great drawing, Jamie.
Well, thanks. So I got in a fight with the custodian at the building where I work, like a little while ago, and he was really, really mean to me. And I learned later from the doorman that it's because he got shot in the head one time. So my haiku is about this guy named Marco, and it seems dark, but it's supposed to be funny, trying to make something funny out of something that was like he was really scary when he was yelling at me. So it's he's a hot-headed dunce, got shot in the head once. His tantrums we forgive, because once I found out that he got shot in the head, I realized it wasn't his fault. Like, he had like impulse control and he just would sometimes be like really happy or like really mad just all of a sudden. So it wasn't his fault. And this was my drawing about him. And please forgive me, God, if I burn in hell for sharing it with the class. Amen.
Well done.
Bye.
Jamie, thanks, Jamie. You did a cool thing where a dunce cap becomes kind of devil horns in the last panel.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do. I thought I was like
Clever.
mirror image, because like he, when he looks in the mirror, he doesn't see a bad guy. And then I thought, well, I shouldn't see a bad guy either. He just doesn't know what he's doing. It's like, you can't be mad at like, an abused dog, or like, there's so many mitigating circumstances where someone's behavior is horrifying, but like, it's not their fault. And so this is one of them. And I don't know, that's what came out of me. So thanks for having this class. I really like it. I've been jumping in, like late because I get off of work late, but this was the first time I got to do the whole thing. So sorry I didn't get to color it, but it's so much fun seeing everybody's thing. And one more thing, can I watch are there replays? Can I see like everybody's houses from last week and the stuff that I missed before because I was late, or it's live and that's it?
No, those are in the chat. There's an archive in the chat, and I'll put it up again as soon as we go over to Caitlin.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, I'm gonna try to undo this so you don't see my yucky face again. But thanks for the class, and see you next week. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Jamie.
Hi.
Caitlin.
Hi. Okay, William wanted to show his, and he says, "Thank you so much for letting him do it." No, come in here. Okay. So his has the paper airplane flying. So it's the same poem. Paper airplanes fly, soggy planes in a puddle, soggy plane destroyed. So there's his wind, and then there's his paper airplane falling in the puddle.
Wow, that's exciting to see the same poem through a different vision.
Thank you, guys. He really wanted to show it. So thank you so much.
Excellent work.
Dave, we're going long. We still have two. We have two more. What do you think?
Let's go quickly.
Okay. Anna, are you there?
Hey, Susanna.
Hello. Can you hear me now? I kept writing and rewriting it. Just are really hard. But I really like them because they're so simple. So I kept changing it, but now I have winter's first snowfall. Soft flurries on pine branches. phone tree help press pound. Not sure about that final one, but I wanted to play with the idea of branches and phone tree because I was on phone trees all day and it was snow not sticking to branches.
Nice. Are you still thinking what should be that last image?
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe just blank, but who knows? I think the eraser parts, you got a nice kind of gray effect that might be a happy accident.
Oh, maybe I could say something about the eraser.
Well, maybe share it online if you want later.
I will. I'll hashtag Friday Night Comics.
Right. Thank you, Susanna.
Thank you, David.
Go to Louise now. Thanks, Susanna.
Thanks for squeezing me in. Thank you. So let's see. Oh, I have the blur on. I don't think that's gonna, let me turn off my blur.
If you hold it close, it might come into focus.
Yeah, you think so? Okay. I won't bore you with a Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna have to be.
See, oh, that's amazing. It thinks it's a person.
It's a person.
It's a cool effect.
It's a good effect. I'll have to remember that. Let's see. There we go.
There we go.
All right. So it says cold wakes in silence. Iron lung clanks, thrashes out, incandescent end.
That's so cool. I love that each panel has no borders and blends into the next one. And it all reads clearly in order. That's masterful, Louise.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David. This was
Beautifully
wonderful.
drawn.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was a treat. Applause to everyone.
Oh yeah, let's everybody unmute and thank Dave. And then I don't know if Dave,
Thank you.
I don't know if Dave has anything.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you so much. Fabulous.
Wonderful. Great way to start the weekend.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Dave. It was really fun.
Great workshop.
Yeah.
Thank you all. This was wonderful.
Good to see you again.
Thanks for staying late.
Thank you.
Hi, Iwata.
Okay.
Sorry if I didn't. Hi, Sally. You know, there's people I know who I haven't seen here. Lynn, it was great to see you. Let's talk soon.
Lynn, can you hold yours up again? Because we couldn't see the cat panel very well.
Wait, cat panel. Wait, is it there?
Oh, wait, okay, wait. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, lovely. Thank you.
No worries. I had a friend.
There's the cat.
Oh, no. Oh, did you? Okay.
Oh, Rosita's holding hers up. Rosita, did you want to share? Sorry. Everyone wants to get home, but Rosita's
late.
Get a spotlight. There we go. Hang on.
Can we see it again? Rosita?
There we go.
Oh, lovely.
Beautiful drawing.
Yeah. This is I'm not a weather person, so I just, didn't what my usual. It's just a thought. What comes to mind?
Beautiful. I love the second panel. I really like
Yeah,
it.
it's I sit here at my desk staring at a blank paper. It's 5 p.m. in the city now. I'm drawing with a Zoom call, and I'm going to eat this.
Great work. Excellent choices of shots.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And shading.
Yeah.
Yeah, San Francisco time is way different than the time out east. So the next time I'll try to make it a bit earlier.
No problem. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rosita.
All right, we'll put Dave back on the spotlight. Dave, thanks again. And anything you want to say in
Thank
closing,
you.
feel free. But thanks so much for doing this.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining. I have a haiku class coming up. If you're interested, that'll be every Sunday starting in January for 9 sessions. And
I'm going to try
one
and
more
find it.
time, put
You
the
got
link
it?
in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Great.
I just found it. There you go. And I hope you'll share some of this on social media. You can hashtag Friday Night Comics, or you can come join us at members.sawcomics.org. And thanks everyone for being here. This has been a really nice way to spend Friday nights. Next week, Natalie Wordlaw will be here. And I think she is planning something called Make a Comics Letter to Your Past or something like that. You'll have to wait and find out when I find out. I don't know. And then we'll take a couple breaks off for the holiday and come back in January. And Dave, we have to catch up. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Tom. And
All right.
everybody take classes from SAW. It's an awesome school.
All right, I'm going to end this.
Thank you both.
Everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.